Of the Super Eagles, who doubles as TVC sports editor, Promise Efoghe joins me live now on the program, of course, to talk about the game tomorrow. Promise, very pleased to see you this evening. I'm sure you have had some Dick icon, haven't you?
I'm pleased to know that you are pleased to see me this lovely Monday evening, Obieno. Talking about Eddie Kaikon, I'm sure perhaps such delicacies will come after we pick the 3 points on Tuesday evening.
Very rightly so, Promise. Well, you reported earlier that there will be a final training this evening to put finishing touches to the tactics against the game tomorrow. What's the spirit in camp at the moment ahead of the game, especially after the flight scare on Sunday?
All right. There are no spirits in camp. We have 22 players who are preparing for the crucial game tomorrow, Tuesday. Unfortunately, Ademola Lookman will not be part of that game because he's got 2 yellow cards in the qualifying series, but he's part of the squad. He did not train yesterday, but he sat out training, but he's been a part of the contingent in every other thing that the team would do and will do. In his absence, I mean, I've answered this question a couple of times today. The coach is still spoiled for choice because Samachukwu is still very much in the squad. A certain Ola Olakunle, who plays for Krasnodar in Russia, is also in the squad. He's a winger, a right-wing player who can shoot with his left. And so there are players in the squad who can, take that position in the absence of Ademola Lookman. In terms of preparations, the coaches and the medical team are being a bit careful and not to overstretch the players, putting into consideration how difficult it was to get back to Nigeria from South Africa, But I can tell you for free that all of that experience have been put behind by the players, and they are very focused on the task ahead on Tuesday. What happened in South Africa stays in South Africa. What happened in Angola stays in Angola. We are in Uyo right now, and for these players, it is nothing but the 3 points. They can smell the World Cup. It's just within touching distance, and we just hope and pray everything goes as planned. At the moment, the job is not done yet, regardless the win in Polokwane. We must win against Benin Republic, and pray and hope that Rwanda will help us beat South Africa or pick a point in Durban that will meet.
All right, Promise. You answered, of course, the other question that I wanted to ask about Ademola Lookman, if his services would be missed tomorrow. But, of course, you have responded to that question. But we must ask ourselves the hard questions. The permutations are ongoing at the moment. Very uncomfortable question, as hard as it may be. What happens if the Eagles win tomorrow and Bafana, the South African team, also win tomorrow?
Well, Obieno, as I said earlier, it's not done yet. I would encourage you to keep a calculator in your pocket when both games are on tomorrow, because we may still be needing some calculators, some calculations, some permutations and combinations at the end of the day. We are hoping that the god of soccer will be Nigerian tomorrow, and hoping that when we get the result against Benin Republic, Rwanda would help us get a result against South Africa. In the case that doesn't happen, in the case South Africa gets to win, then we may be looking towards the direction of being one of the best losers, one of the top, the top 4 teams that may qualify for the playoffs. Now, with the pulling out of Eritrea, CAF has made that very clear a couple of days ago, that with Eritrea pulling out of the qualification race to be able to determine the team that will finish in 2nd position, because in Eritrea's group, we only have 4 teams, or rather 5 teams in that group. And what that means is that every country in that group have only played 7 matches, and on the final day of the qualifiers, it will be that they've played only 8 matches as against the 10 that have been played in other group. And so when you fish out the group winners, how do you determine who comes second in all the group? Now, whoever comes second in that group may be disenfranchised if point deductions are not made. And so what CAF would do is to delete the last teams in all the group to ensure fairness. CAF will delete all the teams all the last teams in all the group. In our case, in Group C, if Zimbabwe finishes as the last team in the group, they will be deleted from the group, and any point amassed from the last team in each group will be deducted from all the teams that finish second. By that way, CAF will be able to determine the top 4 teams that would go into the playoffs. So in the case where we win against Benin Republic and South Africa gets to win against Rwanda, which I do not wish them to, then we'll get to that permutations where we have to calculate, okay, who finishes second, and hopefully with 17 points, knowing fully well that we only got 2 points against Zimbabwe, who is last in our group, then maybe we'll finish with 15 points, and with a positive goal difference, we should be one of the top 4 teams for the playoffs. That's in the case that South Africa wins against Rwanda, and I do not wish them well.
All right. Well, Promise, it will interest you to know also that just as, you know, we are praying to the God of soccer, the other teams are also praying to the same God of soccer. But away from that now, Promise, do we have any injury concerns going into this game tomorrow?
None, absolutely none. As I said earlier, the coaches have been very careful not to overstretch the players. The medical team have been doing a wonderful job in conditioning the players for this important match. And so we've got no injury worries. All 22 players are available in camp, but only 21, minus Ademola Lookman, is available for selection.
Okay, now, give us an idea of what the coach is saying to the players at the moment on the eve of this very all-important game. Just you know, what's on the minds of the players, how the coach is preparing them ahead of that all-important game tomorrow.
Beyond the coach's preparations, you know, I've said this to a couple of things. I said these players want to be at the World Cup more than anybody else. They understand the importance of playing at the World Cup. The World Cup is the biggest platform as far as global football is concerned. Every player, every professional player wants to feature at the World Cup. And it's not different as far as the Super Eagles are concerned. You take a look at the age of the majority of the players in this squad. In 2030, they may no longer be in the team. And so this is their last chance to play at the World Cup. They may play in a couple of AFCONs, but at the World Cup, the next World Cup 2030, the majority of the players in this squad will no longer be in the national team. And so this is their chance to play at that level. And so they are desperate for it, beyond whatever word the coach will tell them, you know. But for Eric Schell, as usual, he will always tell the players to dust off every kind of pressure. He would say, put the pressure on me. He would tell the players to put the pressure on him, the coach, you know, go onto the pitch and do the business. And that is the conversation he's been having with them.
All right, that's great. Well, the goalkeeper, Nwabale, has come under some form of criticism following some unconvincing performances. And, you know, some have suggested that he might just be dealing with some personal issues. May I ask, is he in good frame of mind for the game tomorrow, Promise? You're in camp with him.
Well, we had breakfast together this morning, and it doesn't seem Stanley has any personal problems. It doesn't seem Stanley has any emotional or psychological problems. We have a psychologist in the team in the person of Dr. Emmanuel Ipeme, and I'm sure he would or must have been having conversations with the goalkeeper, not just the goalkeeper, but every player in the team, because going into an important fixture like this, they need to be mentally and psychologically psyched up. That's the job of the team psychologist. So Stanley Nwabale is one of the funniest guys in camp. You know, he's been cracking jokes. He's been making everybody laugh, and it doesn't seem like he has any problem. What we saw, what we've seen in recent times, maybe some bloops, you know, blunders here and there. I mean, come on, these happen. These happen. It's football. Coach Eric Schell would say, if there is no mistake, there will not be a goal. You know, so I'm sure he would. He would put all of that behind him and focus on the game against Benin Republic. It's a game where the Super Eagles would need full concentration, total concentration, and every player, when selected for action, is committed to this.
Well, Promise, we'll take your words, you know, for it. And of course, the important thing, just as you mentioned, is that the players, excuse me, is that the players are in good spirit, and of course they do have the mentality to surmount that challenge tomorrow before them. Promise Efoghe, media officer of the Super Eagles, and of course TVC Sports editor, thank you for giving us those updates.
Thank you so much, Obienu.